Inspirators, it's Inspiring Vanessa here and welcome back to another amazing interview for all of you. I hope you are staying safe and staying positive as well. I've had such a great time doing all of these interviews, speaking to some of my friends, catching up with some new people as well, and I hope you guys have been enjoying it too. So today's guest for today's interview is the lovely Natasha, and she's best known, or she plays the role as Irene Edwards in Malory Towers. And I feel like out of all the Malory Towers girls, I relate to Irene the most, mainly because of her clumsiness, and I think I am like a very clumsy person. So I'm going to be talking to Natasha today about her acting journey and also how she has grown her confidence through acting. And we will be doing a Q&A at the end of this interview, so make sure to leave a question below or in the question icon, and then I'll select it and then I'll give the question to Natasha to answer. But otherwise, I'm going to bring her onto this interview and then we can get straight into it. Hi!
Hiya, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? What have you been up to today?
I'm great. I've just been doing school and then I was doing homework this afternoon, did some TikTok, and yeah, now I'm here with you. I'm really excited.
I mean, you've got to love a good TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok is like my new addictive app. It's not good, but it's been helping me cope during quarantine.
Seriously, me too.
So, the first question I have for you to start off for this interview is, when did you realise you had a passion for acting?
Right, I realised when I had a passion for acting, I was pretty young. I was kind of born into my family, which is all very artsy. My brother did acting, and then my dad's in like the music industry and stuff. So I kind of guess I was born into a house that was very dramatic. And I was lucky enough to grow up in London. I'm still here now. So I got to watch a lot of like shows and West End shows. So that's where I kind of found my passion for it, by like watching all of those kids up there. And I was like, I want to do that. So yeah.
I mean, that's great to hear that your parents were kind of like an influence on your family members anyway. Grew up in a dramatic household.
Yeah. Very loud, but it's great.
I mean, I feel like I'm a loud person, but then sometimes I'm not a loud person, but loud people are great. You've got the biggest personality, so there's no problem there.
Yeah.
So the next question is, when you kind of realise your passion for not only acting but performing arts, as you were saying previously, how did you begin to work on your acting skills? Because I felt that's a continuous question that people are always asking aspiring actors or actresses. And like, well, how did you actually begin to improve on acting and actually become better at it?
Yeah, definitely is a question we get a lot. I started when I was maybe like 8 or 9, and I was already in dance classes since I was like very little. I did like ballet and all of that stuff you do, you know. And I went to theatre schools on like the weekends. I did lots of training. So that definitely really helped me gain the skills I needed to actually get into the industry professionally. So yeah, I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to kind of train at all those amazing places. And then I got my agent, which was really helpful, obviously, for getting auditions for like professional jobs. So that's what I would say to someone who's looking to get into the industry. Definitely your training is so important, and so is who you're repped by.
And a lot of people are like, oh yeah, so if I get acting classes, then I'll be kind of prepared. But there's also, I believe, lessons or classes on like self-tapes or like actual like online auditions as well, which I never knew beforehand until somebody mentioned to me, and I was like, that is probably one of the most helpful things that could be out there to help you as you go into the industry, because people may go in for their first audition and they have no idea, no clue what to expect. So any classes that are going to help them kind of understand the experience is definitely going to be worthwhile.
Yeah, there are so many great like workshops and stuff nowadays, because obviously a lot of stuff has to be done by self-tape now. So there are so many like great opportunities for people to learn, and I think that's really awesome.
Thank goodness we live in the 21st century and we can kind of access so many different things. We can be resourceful. And the next question is, you already seem like a very confident and bubbly person. So would you consider yourself, or have you always been a confident person? And if not, how did your confidence grow?
Well, I would say I've always been kind of extroverted. As I said, like when I was growing up, I kind of grew up with a lot of theatre around me, and I guess that really helped my confidence grow, especially when I was a lot younger. I think I was shyer when I was little, and my confidence kind of grew as I started doing acting, and it really, really helped me kind of find my personality and that stuff. But I would kind of say now I'm an introverted extrovert, so I do like my own company sometimes, and I'm like quite happy to like be by myself and all of that. But yeah, I still enjoy like talking to people, and yeah, I think that's like a big part of my personality.
I mean, same here. I wouldn't really say I'm an introverted extrovert, but I would say I'm like the outgoing introvert, which is like the opposite of the definition of an introvert.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm just like, or like I can be really shy around new people.
Yeah.
I think I've gotten better at it as I've gotten older. But then sometimes, obviously, when you're around your friends or like just people you know and you're comfortable around, you just like go crazy. You're just like your normal, bubbly, kind of very energetic self.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of for everyone, I would say. Yes. Yeah. Very relatable.
Yeah.
The next question is a question that I like always just find really fascinating. Like the answer, sorry, I always get really fascinated by, and it's, what are your best ways on learning lines? Because there's so many different actors and actresses who learn like this monologue, and it's like, how do you even learn that? First of all, how do you begin to learn those lines, let alone perform it amazingly?
Lines are tricky. They're like a tricky thing, and I know everyone has kind of like their own way of going about it. So I would say it's like very much about taking the time to kind of find your way of doing it. Like I know I spent ages trying to find my way of doing it, and now I find the best way for me personally is just to run them over and over and over again. I know it sounds like quite crazy, but I literally will go over them over and over and over again. And I would also say if you can find someone to run them with you, that is really, really helpful, because it kind of lets you bounce off that other person, especially if you're doing a scene with like a group of people. So I think that's a way on Malory Towers specifically, it was really helpful because obviously all the girls were living together. So we kind of had the opportunity to do all of our lines together and rehearse them the night before. So I would say finding someone to do it with is really helpful because it gets you like in the groove, you know.
In the groove, get all the acting kind of skills flowing through.
Yeah.
I've had people say that if they don't have somebody to do it with, they use like a voiceover.
Yes,
so they would voice over their or the other person's lines. But then I'm like, how does the timing work? But I've never tried it myself. Yeah. But if anybody else wants to kind of just get straight into it rather than waiting for someone else to help you with it, then that could be a possible way of doing it. Just use like the voice memo app on your phone and just voice the other person's line. Obviously reading it, and then you memorize the lines that you're meant to learn, basically. But there are so many different ways of remembering lines or memorizing them, but it can be very complicated at times, for sure.
I need to try these methods out.
See which one works best. Come back to us and give us some good suggestions.
I will.
The next question I have for you is, obviously you do play Irene on Malory Towers, but if you could play any other character on the show, which character would you play and why?
Oh, I love this question. I would say I would most like to play Gwen. I know that seems kind of crazy, but I think her character is so funny. Dania does such an incredible job at playing her. She always has me in stitches, and she's just so evil, you know? Obviously not like that in real life, but I think the character is so fun, and the reason I kind of would play her if I got the opportunity is because she's so different from Irene. Like, you would never catch Irene like being sneaky or doing any of that like evil stuff. No spoilers, but yeah. So I think someone like Gwen or like Alicia, like to pull the prank would be kind of fun, not to get pranked myself. So yeah, I think that'd be great because it's just such a contrast between the two.
I mean, for sure. When I was interviewing Dania, obviously you can tell that she's completely the opposite to Gwen. But she, I mean, I think all the girls that I've interviewed have said, I would love to play Gwendolyn. So even though when we're watching the show, we're all like, Gwendolyn, why are you doing this? We would still want to kind of be in her shoes and see how everything plans out and actually be a part of her mind anyways. It's very interesting to kind of see how she works and why she does certain things as well. So yeah.
I think with the evil people, there's always like a motive behind it. So I don't think Gwen's all bad. She's got like something inside her that's a little good, you know.
Just a little good. I mean, nobody is pure evil. Something needs to build up to that, like trauma or an experience that has obviously made them think or act in a certain way. So fingers crossed we'll get to kind of see Gwendolyn turn into a better person.
Well, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed on that one.
Yeah.
The next question is, what was the hardest scene to film on set? Because I know when people are filming like movies, for example, it takes them such a long time. And it's like, what about like the stunts or different things like that? How long would that take to film? So what would you say was the hardest scene to film for you?
Well, for me personally, as some of you may know, my character Irene plays the piano and she's very musical. She's kind of like the musical one of the group. And myself, I do not play piano. So the directors kind of asked me when we were in Canada, they were like, do you want to have a go at learning something on the piano? And I was like, yeah, of course, I'd love to learn it. It's like a new skill to that, and that's so cool. So I learned some like little things on the piano to do, and then it came to set, and I was so nervous to do them on set because obviously I am not the most incredible piano player. I'm not like incredible, but I had so much fun learning them, so I really just wanted to do a good job. So I think that was the hardest one for me, was kind of just like trying to focus on acting, and then also we sang, and then we were playing the piano as well, which I didn't really know how to do. So it was maybe the most like chaotic in my head, I guess.
I mean, that's incredible. I mean, congratulations to you for obviously putting that commitment down, because me and instruments just do not mix very well with each other.
I'm not mixing.
Like all the coordination, just fingers, notes, it just kind of goes all over my head. So that is amazing that you just kind of learned that anyway and was ready and open to learning that new skill as well, which is really great to hear.
Yeah. I mean,
another question. Oh yeah, sorry.
No, just how often do you get the chance to learn something brand new? So yeah.
I know, yeah. For sure. I mean, if I had the opportunity to learn a certain instrument and I actually had people teaching me how to do it, then I would be open to it. But if it was like something out of my own spare time, I doubt I would even start researching how to do it. Now, the next question is, as you were saying before, that you kind of grew up in a theatric household. Apart from your passions from acting, what other passions do you have, or like hobbies do you have?
Yeah, I mean, acting's like obviously a very main one, but also kind of I'm very artsy, like I'm not very good at like maths or science or sport, that kind of stuff. But I really love obviously singing and dancing. I grew up doing musical theatre, so they're really big passions of mine. But I also love doing art. I really love like drawing and painting. I find it so relaxing. So I would definitely say that's one of my really big passions at the moment. It's something I definitely like to get better at, because I just think it's just so like nice and zen to be able to just focus in on some paper, and I think it's very just calm compared to everything else I do.
Very therapeutic. Yeah. I mean, I love art, and so many of my friends are like, how can you just sit there, paint something or draw something and just keep on trying to like perfect it? And it's like, that's just kind of part of what it is. And although people find it really stressful, and it does get stressful sometimes if you want something to be like precise, it is still very relaxing.
Yeah.
But it's a great way to kind of release stress. But sometimes if I want to release stress, I'll probably like clean up my room or something.
Yes.
So if I'm doing like a painting and something goes wrong, like my stress is just going to go from here to here. And the final question I have for you, before we get into some questions from the viewers, is what would you say are your top 3 tips on becoming a good or successful actor or actress?
Right. I would say, number 1, I would say, I would just recommend like a motto I go by when I do like auditions and things, which is something is always around the corner. in this industry, like, you have to deal sometimes with a lot of rejection, and usually it's not even anything to do with your talent. A lot of it is based on like looks and how you fit in with casts and stuff, which can be, you know, kind of upsetting, even though you can kind of put on a brave face to it. But something to remember is that it's something new is always around the corner. Like, I remember before Malory Towers, I just come off an audition where I got really, really far down and I'd not got the part, and I was kind of disappointed, but something new came around like almost instantly. So I would always trust that. I would say number 2, maybe something like more technical. So maybe something I like to always do before I do a part is really research the character. So for example, with Malory Towers, we took a lot of time on set to look into how the girls would act and behave, because it's set in the 1940s, which is a really interesting time period. So we kind of looked into how they would speak and all like their phrases and stuff like that, and how they would carry themselves, which was really, really interesting. And I think it really helps you get deeper into the character, because it like helps you connect with them a lot more. And finally, I would just say, you know, never give up. I mean, it's all about hard work, and you can get there in the end. It just takes some time and dedication, but it's really worth it when you get a result. It's amazing.
I mean, you're never giving up is so important.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like everyone says it nowadays. Everyone's like, oh, it's so cliche. Well, yes, it is cliche, but as long as you keep having that never give up mentality, you will eventually get somewhere.
Yeah.
I think people will actually believe it once something would actually happen for them as well. But trusting the process is a massive kind of
trust the process.
piece of advice to give as well. Trust the process is extremely important, because although you never know what's going to happen around the corner, you sort of need to trust that the universe is going to lead you in the right direction, or your gut feeling is going to lead you in the right direction. And if people know that they love something, then eventually you will get somewhere that will obviously allow you to do what you love, which is really important. Just like yourself, kind of doing the acting and being passionate about that as well, and getting Irene as well.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go on to some questions from the viewers, because they've been sending questions during this interview. So the first question is from Victoria Hunter 860, and Victoria said, what is one of your favourite Malory Towers memories?
Well, one of my favourite memories on set, I would say, was doing the midnight feast with the girls. Kind of was all of us in the same room, and it was so much fun just to all be there together, because I feel like we have such great chemistry as a group, which is what makes it so fun when we all get to act together. So that scene where we were all kind of sitting, and it was like candlelight, and obviously we got to eat some food. Maybe the food me, Imi, and Beth got to eat was prawns and sherbet, so that was not the best, but I mean, it was such a funny memory for us. So I feel like when the cameras were rolling, it was so fun, and then when the cameras weren't rolling, it was also amazing.
I mean, I think that's the best part about obviously being on set with your friends, because it's not just fun playing the characters and having that friendship on screen, but also it's a off-screen friendship as well, which I think is amazing. So on to the next question is from is a funny question from Imi_Kalia_, and they said, what is your most embarrassing moment on set?
Oh, most embarrassing moment on set. This is hard. I think maybe the most embarrassing for me was a situation, basically, if you've seen the show, I'll spoiler alert ahead. In the 3rd episode, Irene gets a lot of jam on her hands and a lot of jam on her face, and basically they obviously had to cover me in jam, so that was pretty crazy in itself. And I was just like walking around the set covered in like red sticky stuff, so that was kind of crazy as well. But I was in the scene, I had to kind of come out from behind a door, and then there was like someone with me obviously behind the door, and I had to shake the doorknob, but obviously I had all this jam all over my hands. and I was like slipping with the doorknob, and not only like all over the door of the set, which was very embarrassing. So I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to damage the set or anything because it's so beautiful. And I slipped backwards because my hands were so sticky. So that was pretty embarrassing in front of the whole crew. But you know, that was a fun morning. It was also like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. So my head was kind of crazy as well, but it was so much fun.
I don't think it's that embarrassing. It's more just like a funny moment to look back on, you could say. A funny memory to look back on. So the next question that somebody has sent in is from Malory Towers fan. And they said, which scenes were filmed in Canada and which ones were filmed in Cornwall?
So basically what we did is we filmed all the interior scenes, which is all the classrooms and the dorm room and like the stand and things. They were all filmed in Canada, which is where we had like the main set. And then we filmed all the exterior scenes. So that's the pool and the outside and the lacrosse pitch and also the dining hall. We filmed that in Cornwall. So it was kind of like a separation of the two.
I mean, was that a bit confusing to just kind of split up where to film and where you weren't filming? Yeah. How was that for you girls?
I mean, it wasn't too confusing when we were actually on the set because I said like there's like a difference between the two, so I guess it was kind of okay. But then when you watch the show back, it was kind of funny because we like walk from the classroom all the way out into the courtyard and we're like, oh, we just walked from Canada to Cornwall. So that was really funny to watch and pick out like where we'd switched locations.
I mean, it's just part of the TV show magic, isn't it? Just putting everything together and just kind of making everything seem a certain way.
Yeah.
So the next question that somebody has sent in is from Ella's Malory, and they said, what's your favourite thing that Irene has said?
Oh, my favourite thing that Irene has said, I feel like Irene's like pretty quotable as like a character. She says some like crazy things, but I feel like maybe my favourite Irene moment is not what she says, but like what she sings. In episode 6, she's kind of roped into this whole midnight feast thing and is trying her best to help, but you know, she's Irene, she's not very helpful in a lot of situations. So she kind of goes off on this like random singing situation where she stands in the corridor. She's supposed to be keeping guard and she is not doing a very good job of it. So she kind of makes her own song about keeping guard for a midnight feast. Like, it's so random. This girl is crazy. But I think that was my favorite. It was like all clear and I was kind of like making up a song about that word. Yeah, someone in the comments has said it. That's so funny. But yeah, that was probably my favorite like lines to say.
I mean, Irene is a very comedic character. Yeah. She's made us all laugh when we were watching this show.
I hope
so. She's I don't know how to explain her mind, but she's just kind of very random in a way. On to the next question, which is another question from Ella's Malory, and they said, can you do any accents?
Ooh, accents. I would not say I'm strongest on accents, but I did have to do an American accent for a show I was in called School of Rock, and also another show I was in called Annie when I was little. So yeah, I feel like I can do an okay American accent. It's not spot on, but I mean, we had accent coaching on the shows, so I feel like it was pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
The next question is from Malory Towers fan once again, and they said, was it hard to learn all of your words?
Yeah, I mean, it was quite a lot of script to learn. We filmed usually like anywhere from like 3 to 6, 7 scenes in a day. So I guess it was quite a lot of script to do, but as I said before, it was pretty easy because we were all together in houses anyway, so we got to kind of run the lines together, and that was great that we had each other there to kind of rehearse with the night before, so it never really seemed too difficult, and I don't think there was really a moment on set when everyone forgot their lines. But you know, you fluff the line every now and again. That's just like what happens on a set. But yeah, it was pretty good.
I mean, no one's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes at one point, so it's understandable.
Very.
This is such an interesting question, and this is from motivational_mooks, and they said, did your parents go with you to Canada?
No, they didn't, which was kind of scary, because I'd never been to Canada before, and obviously it was 2 months, was quite a long time. But I had kind of had some experience, like Annie, I did as a tour when I was quite young. So I was kind of used to going off from my family in like small chunks, but I'd never done like a trip this big to a place I'd kind of halfway across the world. But we had amazing chaperones who looked after us, and they were kind of like our parents, house parents when we were staying there. And obviously the girls became like sisters to me, and they still are. So it was daunting at first, but I think it turned out. It was amazing.
You just kind of got used to it after a bit.
Yeah, pretty grateful. Like,
I mean, I feel like a lot of other kids would be like, oh, I get 2 months away from my parents.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm pretty close to my family, so I was kind of nervous, but I think it also did like a really great thing for me. Like, I felt like I'd grown a lot as like an independent girl and like an independent person. I felt like I can go off and do things on my own now, which was really great. So yeah, it was an amazing experience.
The next question that somebody has sent in is from X_Malory Towers FP fan page _X, and they said, what's your favorite CBBC show apart from Malory Towers?
Oh, well, when I was growing up, I really loved The Dumping Ground. That was like an iconic show for me growing up. But now we were kind of like, when we were filming the show, we watched a lot of Worst Witch because we were like kind of seeing like similarities between the two shows, which was really, really cool. So yeah, as I said, like I watched it a lot when I was growing up. It was like kind of the channel I watched. Like, I don't know if anyone remembers a show called Danny's House. I used to watch that like 24/7. So to be able to kind of be on the channel, and like the other day we were watching the show and we saw all of our faces come up on the screen in the studio, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm on CBBC. That's so crazy. So yeah, it was really fun, and I feel very honoured to be on such an amazing channel that had like a big part of my childhood anyway.
I mean, I bet it would have been very nostalgic.
Yeah.
You just kind of look on it, see the CBBC logo, and then see your face on it afterwards. I mean, that's like a dream come true. So that is incredible.
It was amazing.
Just kind of predicting your future from a young age.
Yeah.
The next question is from Runon Tager, and I think they had a typo, but it says, what was it like filming Malory Towers?
It was just amazing. It was probably one of the best experiences of my whole life. Like, the whole cast and crew and everyone who worked on the show is just incredible. They're amazing. They're the most lovely people. So it was just really a joyful experience. It was my first TV experience as well, like shooting TV, or I've never shot a film before either. So it was really amazing, and they made me feel so welcome and so comfortable. And yeah, it was just something I'll never forget. It was incredible.
Now we're going to go through the last two questions, and the second to last question is from _24.josephine, and she said, what are the tips you would give to become an actor?
I would say all the ones I said before, but I would also say it's really important kind of to keep a balance in a way. This is something I would always like recommend, especially if you do end up being successful and getting some kind of work and stuff like that, which is really amazing. But also when you're auditioning still, it's really important to keep a balance between your kind of stage and screen life and then like your regular life, especially for me. That's really important, to kind of talk to both like sets of friends and to be able to keep going at it with schoolwork, and then be able to like switch is quite a difficult thing. but I would say it was really important. So finding like other hobbies and stuff to keep you going in between like the stages and also while you're doing work is really important, especially for me.
Balance is key for sure. And the final question that we are going to, well, I'm going to select and that you are going to answer is another question from Imi_Kalia_. And they said, how did you get an agent? So what are your kind of tips on how to find or get an agent?
This is a question we get asked a lot as well. I got my agent personally when I was very young. So I like barely remember getting my agent. I feel like I've had them for so many years now. But I know at the moment there are lots of opportunities coming up. So I would say do your research. If you have any like friends or family who are in the industry, I would definitely ask them because there are so many agents out there and you want to find one that's right for you. I would also say make sure you're prepared. So when you go into the audition for your agency, most likely you'll have to audition. And they'll probably want to hear a piece from you. Maybe that's a monologue, or they'll send you a scene to do and maybe something to sing or other talents like that. So I would make sure you're prepared and kind of know what's the best showcase of your talent so you can kind of sell it to them and make sure you're showing off like your best self and, you know, lots of personality. Just be you, because that's what they want to see. So I would say they're the most important things to kind of show when you're in your agency audition. But yeah, finding them, just do your research. The internet has got so many great things. There are so many like platforms that can help you find stuff like that. Just remember to like be safe and yeah, just be yourself.
So research and be yourself, very important. Be yourself because everybody else is already taken.
Yeah, 100%.
They don't want to see another like Leonardo DiCaprio or another like Angelina Jolie. They want to just see you as a person.
You're unique.
So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
You're amazing just by yourself, so you don't need to kind of act like anyone else or copy someone else's acting skills unless it's like being inspired by that actor or actress. But make sure to be yourself and be original.
Yeah.
I think is really important.
Yeah.
So that was the last question. For the people who were sending in questions, apologies if the question that you sent in wasn't selected. If you still want your question to be answered when this interview is up on my IGTV, you can comment it in the comments below, and then Natasha can answer it for you if you still want it to be answered. So if people haven't watched Malory Towers, where can they watch the show?
They can watch Malory Towers. Well, it's all out on BBC iPlayer right now. The last episode just aired, so you can catch them all, and they're going to be rerunning on CBBC. And also, if you live in Canada, the Family Channel just aired Malory Towers today. It was the first episode premiere, so you can watch it there as well. I believe every Wednesday, but check first. So yeah, I would recommend it. I know I'm biased, but like
I mean, it's a great show. I think it has so many different like hidden messages as well, and so many characters obviously are sharing some kind of lesson towards the person who's watching. So make sure to go and watch it as well. And it's amazing that it's airing in Canada. So congratulations to the whole crew as well and the cast. That is an amazing achievement in itself. And hopefully in the future can kind of air like everywhere else. Something that we can keep our fingers crossed for to see in the future. But Natasha, it was wonderful having you here today. And before we do finish off this interview, where can we find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram. It's at Natasha Raphael Official. You can find me on TikTok as well, and that's just at Tash Raphael. So yeah, go follow it.
I mean, your TikTok is lovely, and you know, you can always you're welcome. You can always just, you know, learn some new TikTok dances, and I mean, you won't be bored anymore in lockdown. Feel free to like duet any dances or anything. I just find them so fun, so I would recommend that. Very entertaining. It's a very entertaining platform to be on. But once again, thank you so much for being my guest today, and I'll be speaking to you soon. Bye-bye. All right, thank you so much. Bye. Bye. So now it is the end of this interview. I hope you all did enjoy it. Make sure to go and watch Malory Towers or binge watch all the episodes on BBC iPlayer, as Natasha did say that the last episode did air on CBBC. But if you haven't watched it already, make sure to binge watch all the episodes on BBC iPlayer. And if you do happen to live in Canada, the first episode has aired on the Family Channel, which is amazing. And go and follow Natasha on her Instagram and on her TikTok. And without further ado, I'll see you guys on the next interview. And also, before I do leave, all the interviews are being posted on my YouTube channel as well, and they are here on my IGTV. So if you are happening to tune in now or in the middle of this interview, you can watch the whole interview, the full interview, on my IGTV later and watch the whole thing. And I also have a lot of, well, not a lot of interviews, but I have a few interviews up on my talk show, which is on Amazon Prime. It's called The Inspiring Vanessa Show, and you can watch that on, as I said, Amazon Prime, and make sure to leave a review, and then I'll repost it on my Instagram story. But otherwise, that's it for today. I'll speak to you guys soon. Bye!